Hello, welcome to this big race betting preview in association with Betsafe. We're looking at the other big Group 1 races on Arc Day at ParisLongchamp on Sunday. We've got the experts assembled to do exactly that. Declan Ricks and Simon Rowlands from the At The Races website join us to look in detail at some of the big races. Can Battaash win an Abbaye? He's fluffed his lines, Battaash, in the big French sprint on previous visits to France. But can he get it right at ParisLongchamp this time round? We'll talk about Battaash and who might beat him in the big sprint coming up. Fancy Blue, she's got classic winning form. Will she be good enough in the Opera? Will it go to something like Alpine Star? We'll get the latest on the big fillies and mares race from our experts as well. And we'll look at the Foret, the 7 furlong race. The Foret, Earthlight's only been beaten once in his life. Can he be beaten again by one master? Can one master go and win the race for the 3rd year running? We'll talk about that and find some big bets for you. We've got some big price selections in all of those races. Some hot favourites will either be with or taking on, trying to get Battaash bashed, for example, in the Abbaye. Stay tuned for those big juicy price bets. Big race betting preview in association with Betsafe. Hello, welcome to a big race betting preview in association with Betsafe. We're looking at the other big races on Arc Day at ParisLongchamp. Don't forget, you'll see those live on Sky Sports Racing, and you can watch them online and do all your form study, of course, on At The Races website. We've got all those French races, all the British races, all those key races. You can see them all on the At The Races website, www.attheraces.com. And don't forget, watch all the action live with us on Sky Sports Racing on Sunday as well. But right now, we're going to try and find you some big price selections from our form gurus. Simon Rowlands and Declan Ricks from the At The Races website join us once again. Welcome both and good to have you on board. We're looking at the other big races. Let's start. Let's kick straight off. Let's get straight into the Abbaye. And we can hear first of all from Angus Gold on the chances of Battaash.
It probably isn't going to be ideal, but who is it going to be ideal for if it goes really soft? You know, if he doesn't handle it, he doesn't handle it. There's not much any of us can do about it. I know he didn't run well there last year on soft ground. I personally, I'm not convinced it was just the ground that beat him. I remember thinking he was never really at the races for whatever reason. And so I'm not sure it was just the ground, but other people have different opinions. So, look, we'll go there and give it our best shot. And you know, he's done absolutely everything right this year. If he doesn't handle the ground, as I say, so be it.
Pretty sanguine, wasn't he there, Angus Gold, about Battaash, and you probably want a bigger price under the circumstances. He's a hot favourite, 5-4, currently with Betsafe. We are recording this in advance of the weekend, of course, so these prices can change. Last year's winner, Glass Slippers, 3-1, Make a Challenge is a definite runner, we hear, 7-1 and 12-1, and bigger bar those. Where do we stand on Battaash, Simon? Because this year, some people would argue he's a reformed character, all the quirks have gone. He was brilliant in the King's Stand. We'll roll the King's Stand because we've got Liberty Beach and Glass Slippers in that as well. But where do you stand? Is he vulnerable in France? Is he vulnerable in soft ground? Or is he a more complete horse this year?
I love Battaash. I think he's the best out-and-out 5-furlong performer of this century, really, at his best. But I don't love him for this race anything like so much. If you look at his form this year, he's not been beating particularly good horses, and he's not been putting them away in the way that he did winning by 4 or 5 lengths a year, 2 years ago. He slightly scrambled home against Kayamoro in an Unthought Stakes at York. And while he beat Glass Slippers, who's 5th here at Royal Ascot, while he beat Glass Slippers at Goodwood, there was a pretty ordinary horse in Ornate snapping at their heels that day. So in terms of ratings, I'm not convinced Battaash is at the same level he was in the not too distant past. He also has the previous of disappointing from time to time, including in this race. So at a short price, I'm pretty happy to take him on, whilst recognising that the Battaash, at his brilliant best, would win this.
OK, well, we'll find out what Simon's going to take him on with in a minute. We've got Make a Challenge. We've got last year's winner, Glass Slippers. Are you with Battaash or are you with something else, Deck?
Look, I love Battaash, but I just can't back him at that kind of price in this race. But in some ways, you know, 5-4 could look big on the day if he turns up. But I agree wholeheartedly with what Simon said there, and also what Angus Gold said. I agree with Angus in what he says, that it wasn't the ground last year. For me, if you go back and watch that video, he was off the bridle after 2 furlongs. He just didn't run his race. And I've got a bit of a tinfoil hat theory about Battaash, if you will indulge me in that. I'm just not 100% sure this horse is at his best when he travels and stays overnight at racetracks. I've been trying to find out if he travelled overnight when he won the Abbaye in 2017, because what he did that day at Shanty was simply incredible performance. But I do know the first time he was beaten at York in the Nunthorpe, he travelled overnight. It didn't suit. In the last 2 years, he's travelled up on the day, and he's obviously won the race. And last year he put up a simply incredible performance. But so I'm trying to find out if someone in the media could ask Charlie Hills about those 2 things. That would be brilliant for me. I did email the office, but no one got back to me. Unsurprisingly,
I was going to say someone in the media can ask the question. You're in the racing media, Declan. Ask it yourself.
I'm not sure I'm really in the racing media, Sean. I'm a bit of a pound shop compared to most, but you know.
Sorry to interrupt, Declan. Let's have a look quickly at last year's Abbaye, because of course Glass Slippers won it for Kevin Ryan, and I want to pick up on something that you flagged up for me, Simon, because you've done some analysis on this. The draw, the winner with Glass Slippers was 3, So Perfect was 1, El Astronaut in third was 4, Invincible Army in fourth was 5. They were the first 4 places home, all drawn 5 or lower. Is the draw as big a factor as it appeared last year?
It can be, certainly, and it very much was last year, I think. And if you crunch the numbers of Abbaye's run at Longchamp this century, and you also look at the effect when the ground is softer than good, and it becomes very pronounced. There have been exceptions. You've had Marchand d'Or winning from a high stall, but that's over 10 years ago. Overall, lowly drawn horses have fared well in the Abbaye, particularly when the ground is soft. And I think that explains possibly why Glass Slippers looked like an absolute world beater last year, whereas she just looks pretty good otherwise, and goes into this on the back of a win with a fair chance. But I'm not sure that last year's Abbaye truly reflects the abilities of the horses involved.
No, it's interesting. Simon put together some stats on percentage of rivals beaten, which is a statistic I really like, because it tells you a bit more than just bare win and place statistics. And the percentage of rivals beaten from low draws on soft ground in particular was really, really, I thought, statistically noteworthy and significant. So much so that I shall be having a bet once I know what the draw is, and I'll be looking at combination forecasts and things like that on the low drawn horses. But one other that we should mention, Declan, is Make a Challenge, who is definitely runner, say the Hogan team. Do we give Make a Challenge a chance?
Yeah, he's definitely got a chance, Sean. He's probably a little bit overpriced in comparison to Glass Slippers based on their flying 5 run at the Curragh on Irish Champions weekend, where he was beaten by the draw and the pace. The race just unfolded away for him that day at the Curragh. This day at Ascot, he ran a cracking race. He as you can see here, he travelled really strongly. I thought he was just put in the race sooner than ideal, given he was running over a stiff 6 furlongs on proper soft ground, but he ran a cracker. Yeah, look, he's definitely got a chance with the way the ground is. He really does thrive on this kind of ground. So, yeah, he's got a chance. But as kind of you and Simon have both kind of strongly alluded to here, we're going to know a hell of a lot more about this race when the draw comes out.
Yeah, we will indeed. Low-drawn horses on soft ground. Doesn't mean that you can't win. As Simon said, you know, good horse could come and win from a big double-figure draw, but certainly a lot of horses are going to be peppering the frame, I would have thought, from low numbers once again this year. Certainly that could be possible, given the percentage of rivals that are getting beaten by low-drawn horses. Right, let's get selections from our boys. Battaash is the 5-4 favourite. Sounds like you're both against him. So, Simon, what are you going to be with?
Yeah, I'm going to take a bit of a swing at a long price horse who's not even on that caption, called Tour to Paris, an ex-Hungarian, believe it or not, who's very hit and miss and was very much miss on his last 2 starts, but prior to that won the Group 2 Prix du Grosjean at Deauville in May in a good time by a wide margin. He seems to be. I'd rather back an inconsistent horse at a big price to come good on the day than something at much shorter.
Yep, from 20 to 1 all the way out to 33 to 1 about Tour de Paris, freely available, so shop around for him. What do you like, Declan?
Yeah, look, I think Glass Slippers is probably the most likely winner on the ground, Sean. She obviously won this race last year. It was a bad race last year, but she really did bolt up, and I thought when she got to the front, she had plenty left. She was idling pretty badly. With every start this year, she's been getting better and better, and we know the course and distance suits her well, so it'll be Glass Slippers for me. But I would just say Make a Challenge is overpriced in comparison to her, but whether he wants this kind of quite a sharp 5 furlongs, even on this ground, remains to be seen. So I'm going to go with Glass Slippers.
OK, Glass Slippers for Declan. I am simply backing, as I've said, the draw in this race. I'll look at perming some low-drawn horses come the draw for the Prix de l'Abbaye. Another great race on Arc Day, of course, is the Prix de l'Opera. Don't forget, you'll see all of these races on Sky Sports Racing. You can study all the form on the At the Races website. Give us your selections as well. If you're watching on YouTube, put your comments below the VT there, and don't forget to hit subscribe as well if you're enjoying the coverage. But this is the Qatar Prix de l'Opera betting. Fancy Blue, Magical, we don't know whether we'll see her or not. Peaceful, Alpine Star. I spoke to Jesse Harrington this morning, very pleased with Alpine Star, definitely an intended runner. We've got Torquil in there as well. Let's have a look at the Prix de Diane, which went to Fancy Blue, of course. Donica O'Brien winning a classic. At an incredibly young age. We've got Alpine Star and Peaceful in there as well. How good, Simon, I'll come to you. How good was this Diane?
Well, there's the old saying that they can't all be good, but in this instance, you've got 4 horses, 4 fillies within about a half length of each other, and they probably were pretty good. I think Alpine Star's the best of them, and she's proved that since at a mile against Palace Pier. But this was a mile and a quarter, and there is an argument to be said that she didn't quite get home here, but she was ridden quite aggressively in this race, and I would anticipate them dropping her in and giving her a little bit more of a chance at the weekend. Yeah,
she ran second to Palace Pier next time out, which looks outstanding form, but at a mile, as Simon says. It's an interesting point about Alpine Star. Maybe she is vulnerable over the 10. What did you make of the Diane, Declan, and the quality of those fillies in there, and what else do you like in the race?
Yeah, I thought the DN was a perfectly kind of up to standard renewal. On the day, I was very disappointed with Alpine Star, to be honest, given what she did at Royal Ascot on the Coronation Stakes, where she was pretty phenomenal. There's a couple of things with Alpine Star that I'm a little bit guessing on. I think one thing that she clearly goes on decent ground, no problem. But I do think this filly thrives off 2 things: a strong pace and very soft ground. We saw that again when she went to France the last day behind the good horse of John Gostins, who escapes my name now. That was that level that she's put up to at Royal Ascot and in the France race. That I think is a level that all these horses in here aspire to get to. I think the trip is maybe a little bit of a question mark. I take that, but if this is going to be run in a typical French race where she's going to be prominent, I think it's going to take a good one to beat her. Our friends there at Betsafe are offering 5 to 1. I would have her half that price given the ground, to be honest. And I've backed her anti-post, and I'm absolutely delighted that you're saying that she's going to run, because if she's on her A game, I think she's going to take a hell of a lot of a stopping here.
Yeah, well, I'm took the precaution of double checking, because I was very keen on her for our last big race betting preview, and of course she didn't turn up for that particular gig, Alpine Star, but she is definitely an intended runner for the Prix de l'Opera. Very happy with the ground conditions. No amount of rain would be a worry for her, obviously, and she's very well, and Jesse Harrington very happy with Alpine Star. So I think that's 2 votes for Alpine Star. Let's have a look at another French challenger in this race, Torquil, trained by Jean-Claude Rouget. He's been pretty bullish about this filly. We can see her here winning the Prix de la Nonette at Deauville. It's only a Group 2, Simon, but a bit like Rabia, I suppose. The vibes around her, another Maktoum horse, of course, seem to be very strong.
Yeah, I have my doubts whether she's quite going to be up to the class of the Opera at this stage. She's not been beating horses right out of the top draw. But she has looked good at it, and also won the Prix Saint-Hilary. I think this involves her having to step forward 3 or 4 lengths on what she's done so far, but she's done nothing wrong, as they say.
No, indeed. Fancy Blue, classic winner, 7-2. We've got Alpine Star there, around about 5-1. Torquil, similar sort of price. It sounds like Declan and I are united on Alpine Star. I'm very keen on her. I love that Palace Pier run, particularly for Alpine Star. But Simon, what will you go for in the Opera?
Would I be allowed to sit this one out? Because I think it depends, besides anything, if Magical were to run, she'd have a first-rate chance.
I'll give you Magical with a run then.
Yeah.
We'll put you down for that, Simon.
Okay.
But Alpine Star for Declan and I in the Prix de l'Opera. You'll see these live with us, of course, on Sky Sports Racing. You can get all the form, all those French races we're talking about. You can watch them all on the At The Races website, www.attheraces.com. Loads of other great stuff on the website, of course, as well. If you're watching on YouTube, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us your selections in the comments below. We're happy to chat with you about your views and exchange a few thoughts on that as well. And, of course, hit subscribe. You'll stay up to date with all the latest news. Talking of the latest, let's get the latest on the Prix de la Foret. 7 furlongs is the trip for the Foret. A bit of a specialist trip. Let's have a look at the market. Earthlight, who's been brilliant throughout his career, of course, is favourite, as you can see. 7-2, then about one master bidding to win the race again. 13-2, Dream of Dreams. Not sure whether we'll see him or not. Safe Voyage, Siskin there as well. Let's start, though, with Earthlight. We'll start with you, Simon. Where do you stand on the Foret? Long sprint or short mile? What kind of horse do you want?
Long sprint. I've just written a piece in ATR Sectional Spotlight just underlining that the Foret, if you look at it on Google Earth and also look at the sectionals, it's actually short of the advertised distance by 40 to 50 metres. That's been the case since time immemorial, and they haven't changed anything. It's basically a 6.5, 6 3/4 furlong race. That plays to Earthlight's strengths. He's almost certainly a sprinter rather than a miler. I'm just not convinced, despite a very good record, that Earthlight's as good as he's been made up to be. The one time that he met really good horses, he was put in his place and finished 4th.
Well, that's a strong view. We're seeing Earthlight winning the Prix du Pin at ParisLongchamp, which was his warm-up, I suppose, last time out. That was over the 7. He's won over 6 as well. He was put in his place a little bit by Space Blues, arguably, at Deauville. Are you an Earthlight man, Declan, or not?
I'm a big fan of Earthlight as a horse, Sean. He's he's lovely, straightforward horse with strong travelling, good body, good mover, and he's got a tremendous attitude. But he's a son of Chamerdal, and whether he quite wants the ground as soft as this, I think, is very, very debatable. And to be honest, he's a horse I think we at the head of the market we should all be getting after at the prices.
Okay, we can take him on by the sound of things. Earthlight. Who do we take him on with? Wichita is an interesting runner. 7 furlongs. Declan, might be Wichita's optimum, do you think?
Yes, yeah, absolutely, no doubt about that for me. I thought he shaped in the 2,000 guineas at Newmarket at like 7 furlongs would be ideal for him. He's a big, powerful son of no nay never, but whether he wants the ground quite as soft as we're going to get on Sunday is debatable as well. I did think this day when he won at Doncaster, he deserved great credit, Sean, because there was a pretty serious headwind here for a lot of the day at Doncaster, and he got absolutely zero cover the whole race. On the other hand, One Master was covered up nicely behind a couple of horses. So, yeah, he's while obviously he on ratings or whatever, there's no doubt he's good enough to win. I'm just not sure he's going to want this ground. To be fair, that's probably going to be a theme for the whole weekend. How many horses do really want this kind of ground? So he's another one at the head of the market I'll be happy to take on.
Okay, Wichita and One Master we saw in the Park Stakes. Maybe One Master will go and win this race again. She's won it for the last 2 years. I still can't believe she got beaten at Doncaster. It looks for all the world like she'd gone past Wichita. Frankie Dettori just putting his hands on Wichita's ears, forcing him over the line that day. Amazing shots, I remember watching on Sky Sports Racing that. But Earthlight is our favourite. One Master 7-2. Have we got any alternatives further down that list, Simon?
Yes, I think so. My understanding is that Dream of Dreams will probably go to Ascot rather than here, but we'll see. But Safe Voyage, absolutely ultra dependable horse, thrashed one master a couple of starts back in the City of York Stakes. He did very much get the run of the race that day, but nonetheless he showed that he's capable of a really top class performance when things are absolutely right for him. And I think in his case, 7 furlongs, probably racing up with a pace. This is a race in which you've often got a lot of trouble in behind as horses try a right-handed bend early and try and cover themselves up for a late run. And I think Safe Voyage should deliver his best over 7 furlongs on softish ground, and that will be good enough to see him go close. And at 13-2, he interests me certainly a bit.
Okay, so Safe Voyage, certainly interesting at a nice price. Can you beat that price-wise, Declan? Have you got anything else up your sleeve?
I do, Sean. Yeah, I think that this horse is so overpriced. Our friends at Betsafe don't even have him in the market. I checked their website last night, and unfortunately he wasn't in there. Obviously we won't be mentioning any other bookmakers on this, but if you do shop around, I did see 50-1 about Trobo last night was still there, and that is an absolutely colossal price, Sean, compared to Earthlight. She was only 3/4 of the length behind Earthlight last time in the Prix du Pin, and as a filly she was giving the 3-year-old colt a pound. The conditions of the race suited Earthlight down to a T, really. And that's another reason why he should be taken on here. He's going to be worse off at the weights with an awful lot of horses who re-oppose him in this race. But this filly, just in terms of maths the whole way through, 50-1, the favourites 8-5, too big. She was only beaten 3/4 of a length. She's now going to be £4 better off. With £4, that works out. Maybe she's going to be about a length and a half ahead of him. Obviously, it doesn't all work out like that. We know that. But she's a daughter of showcasing, and she's shown that she has gone very well on soft ground at this course. So I think, while she's not priced up with our mates there at Betsafe, I do have a look around. Yeah, I can see 50-1 about there. There's a bit of 33s, and she was even 66s a couple of days ago. I would be happy probably to back this filly at around 16-1 or 20-1, and there is much, much, much bigger out there.
Yeah, Trobo, too beautiful, too big, says Declan about Trobo. So watch out for that one. We'll see whether she's in that Foret lineup. Let's round up selections across the piece for our fellas, and we've got a bit of any other business as well. Some nice price advice for you. We'll come to that in a moment, but these are our selections. Simon's gone for Safe Voyage in the Foret. We haven't mentioned the Cadran, but Sublimi each way in the Cadran. Tour de Paris is a nice price in the Abbaye. Declan, Alpine Star in the Prix de l'Opera. She's a nice price currently. I can see her shortening up considerably in the Opera. We'll see. Glass Slippers to win the Abbaye again, and Trobo is too big in the Foret. I like Alpine Star, and I like One Master in the Foret. She's won it for the last 2 years. I don't see any reason why she should be 3.5-1 to go and win it this year, actually, One Master. So we can see how that winds up shortly. We mentioned there Sublimi in the Cadran. Simon, anything else you want to bring to our attention?
Yeah, Sublimi is a really stoutly bred individual. His dam won the Prix Royal Oak over 2 miles. He's only run once over further than a mile and a half, which was last time in the Prix Gladiateur, which is a tactical race, and he was just coming through to make his challenge when he got stopped in his run, got going again, finished third. I think this horse will come into his own, faced by the task he's got in the Cadran. He's a double-figure price at the time of speaking, and in a race that should lend itself to each way betting, I think that's pretty appealing.
Okay, so a nice shout there for the Cadran, the staying race on the day. Declan, any other business for you?
Yes, on Saturday, Sean, there's also very good racing from ParisLongchamp, which you'll be able to see on Sky Sports Racing. There's one horse that I'll be backing in a single, and then I'll be putting 3 into a little Trixie. The single bet is Max Vega of Rafe Beckett's in the Prix de Chardonnay. And I'll be on the wine myself if this horse wins. So he was second to Hookham in the Freer the last day. And I just think a typical French race is going to suit him. He's a front runner. I think if they crawl around early and it develops into a sprint, I think this horse, he's well equipped to deal with that. All his best form has been on soft ground. I don't think the ground is going to be a worry to him. And as long as Harry Bentley, who doesn't get into a pace battle up front with him, the trip is a little bit of a question mark. There's no doubt about that. But if it turns into a typical French race with the Beckett team in such good order, I'm backing him in a single. And also on that day, I'm going to do a Trixie, as I said. I'm going to put Max Vega in there. I'm going to put the Revenant in the Prix d'Allier, the Windle style. And also in the Prix-Dollar, I am going to put a horse called Skeletti in. They're all to the head of the market. Whether or not they all offer value is debatable. But often when I get cases like this of horses at the front of the market that I just think will win, I like to do little multiples and then kind of, boost the odds that way. So that's hopefully a little Trixie for people to boost the coppers on Saturday ahead of Sunday.
Max Vega, the Revenant. What was the third one?
It was Skeletti in the Prix-Dollar, who beat Sotstas on his last run, although he was getting £6 on the day.
OK, Max Vega, the Revenant, and Skeletti. Little multiple there. Don't forget, talking of multiples, combinations. Don't forget your combination forecast on the Abbaye on horses drawn 1 to 5 either. Maybe throw in some a hot one from a big price if necessary. What else can we offer you in terms of special bets? Let's see what Betsafe have come up with for this day. Love and Battaash both to win. A lot of people will be with Battaash. I'm certainly with Love in the Arc. I'm backing Mogul and in Swoop, but I prefer Love to enable at the turns. 9 to 1 if you think that Love can do it, and Battaash can follow up in the Abbaye. Enable in the Arc, Battaash in the Abbaye, and Earthlight in the Foret. If you fancy that as a hat-trick, 25 to 1 for that treble. Those are enhanced odds there from Betsafe. Terms and conditions apply, maximum stake limits, etc. Visit betsafe.com for full details on all of that. Thanks for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget hit subscribe. We'll keep you up to date with the latest from At the Races and Sky Sports Racing as well. Thanks to Declan, thanks to Simon. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to join in the comments below the line as well. I hope you've enjoyed our big race betting preview with Betsafe.